Let's do this. Since Ron is very knowledgeable about music and I don't know much about music at all, and I'm very knowledgeable about movies and Ron doesn't know much about movies at all, we've come up with a category called You Should Know This. And one of us, like for an example, Ronald's like sing a lyric or something from a song, maybe an album or whatever, and it should be really obvious that I probably should know, but more than likely won't. And so and then I'm going to do something like I'll say a line or something from the movie and maybe let the person guess, was it this, was it that? So we're going to do that. You should know this. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Political Vigilante Game Show with your host, Graham Elwood. Hi, everybody. I'm Graham Elwood in beautiful Gotham Studios, just outside of Wayne Manor. We are doing the Political Vigilante Game Show and this new segment called You Should Know This. And our two subcategories are movies and music. So Ron and I each have to, on the honor system, when we're the contestant being asked the question, we can't look in the chat because some of you might know it and put it in the chat. So Ron, you have to honor that.
Yeah.
So if I look here, you know I'm looking at the chat. Someone in the chat just put, only a ginger can call a ginger. Perth boy Tim. Thank you, buddy.
Non-gingers have called me a ginger before. I don't mind it.
It's all right. I got family members that are gingers. I feel like I can, like I'm allowed to say that. All right, Ron, let's do our first one. Would you like to be tested first, Ron, or would you like to test me?
I want to be tested first.
All right, Ron Placone, you should know this. I will read a line of dialogue from a very significant movie. You name that movie. This is dialogue between two characters. Character 1, are you an assassin? Character 2, I'm neither. No, excuse me. Sorry. Let me do this again.
Are you still in the character now, or?
No, we're starting from scratch. I screwed this up. New category, ladies. This is going to take a while. All right. New character 1. Are you an assassin? Character 2. I'm a soldier. Character 1. You're neither. You're an errand boy sent by grocery clerks to collect a bill. Ron Placone, what movie is that from?
So that is 007 GoldenEye. like the bad guy said that to James Bond, and then James Bond was like, "Oh, no, I'm no clerk, shaken not stirred." And then he got on a plane, right? I gotta be close.
Wow. No. GoldenEye. So I'll give you.
All right, it was Dr. No then. It was an older Bond film. It was for sure a Bond movie. I know this. It's got to be.
Okay, so I'll give you a hint. It's from the 70s, and it's not a Bond movie.
All right, well, still could have been.
Those
were the 70s, weren't they?
Yes, there were James Bond movies in the 70s. Dr. No came out, I think, in 1964, 65. So there's been Bond movies since the mid 60s.
You know who one of the people that character was based on, James Bond, was Hoagie Carmichael, who's a musician tying in movies and music.
Wow. Oh.
See, I know a couple random things. I can make up a wrong answer and then tell you a fun fact about that wrong answer. That I can do.
No,
give me a hint. Give me a hint.
Okay. Do you want either a statistical hint or say one of the lines in the character's voice?
Oh, all right. Do the character's voice.
Okay. This is from character 1.
Yo, Neva, you're an errand boy sent by grocery clerks to collect the bill.
Is it The Godfather?
Ooh, Ron Placone. Close.
Godfather 2.
This'll same time era. You're in the right time frame.
But it's neither of those movies.
Not those movies.
Okay. All right. Geez. But it's in that vein. I'm like getting warmer.
You're so warm. It's crazy.
Is it Goodfellas? I mean, I don't know. Like I'm trying to stay in that genre.
Now you're colder.
Sopranos. That's my final answer.
That's gotta be a TV show. That's not a movie.
I
So now we're getting further away. So
Scarface.
Stop, Ron, stop. You're killing me. This is hurting my ears. Ron, I'm going to need you to please stop what you're doing.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Oh my God, Ron Placone, I'm going to need leave the program. Ron, I need you to go. So let me ask you this question, Ron. This is fantastic. This is why this category is fantastic. The chat, people are losing their minds. When I read it, what made you think it was Godfather?
Because of the impression. Because of the voice.
And who's the voice?
I'm going to give you an offer you can't refuse.
Oh.
Yeah.
And that's played by...
Oh, come on, man. Off the top of my head, I can't. Here, hold
on.
You
don't know.
Let me Google it.
You don't know the actor that did that in The Godfather?
No, hang on, man. I'm going to find out in like 2 seconds.
Don't look it up. You can't look it up.
Marlon Brando.
You looked it up, but all right.
Of course I did.
You can't look it up, Rod. But yeah, all right. So yes, it's Marlon Brando. So
I'm not going to look more stuff up, or I'll find out the answer. So
don't look it up.
All right,
you gotta go honor system. We can't look anything up.
Well, that's just one of those things where it's like I know the name, it's on the tip of my tongue, but I need a refresher because I'm on the spot. But all right, so it's game show. It's 70s. It's the same guy. Ah, geez. I'll probably, when you say the title, it'll probably ring a bell. But yeah, I don't know.
Do you want me to just tell you? Do you want one more?
Yeah. Tell me.
That is from the movie starring Martin Sheen and Marlon Brando. The movie is Apocalypse Now.
Oh, yeah. That's the one I really got to see.
So
one of the ones.
That's why you were so close, because it's Marlon Brando, and also Francis Ford Coppola directed the Godfather movies and directed Apocalypse Now.
You know what's funny? I have a big list of all the movies you told me that I should really see, and it's a huge problem that I haven't seen them. I probably should have just read that list, and then like inevitably it would have been. And then the ones that I know, like it's for sure not that, I could skip those and then just keep reading the list. Like I would have gotten it. Because I assumed it wasn't Apocalypse Now because we had just talked about that. And you were like, dude, you have to see Apocalypse Now. Which I know I do. I got to see. I mean, I watched Dr. Strangelove and I was like, why did it take me this long to see this movie? That's bad. I got to see. So I got to see Apocalypse Now. I got to see Citizen Kane. I got to see Deer Hunter. And then what was that other thing you really liked? The Three Dog Night or whatever? The free one. I got to see that. I'm not good at movies.
Three Dog Night. No, it's 3 Days of the Condor.
Yes, that one. Yeah.
Three Dog Night. Three Dog Night. What's that one movie about the CIA? Me and you and a dog named Boo. What's that song? What's that one? Three Dog Night.
I wish it was an act, folks, but it's really not. I'm really bad at this.
Actually, now I don't want you to watch any of these movies because this is fantastic entertainment. This is just fantastic. I don't want you to get more knowledgeable about movies, Ron. I just want you to keep asking stuff like this and then saying, was it Goodfellas? And that's fantastic.
Well, I'm one of those people too, where it's like, I'll remember all these random facts about something, but I'll forget the obvious part, like the name of the person. Like I'll be like, no, it's that in 1972 they had that altercation, and they'll be like, how do you know this? But you're blanking on Marlon Brando's name, and it's like, I know it's weird, but I'm that guy. I'm that guy who it's like, you have me write a thesis, I'll do it for you, but you give me a multiple choice thing, I might fuck it up. I've always been that guy, even in school. Like I was that guy.
Well, the other thing is like there's a context clue in the quote where I said, "Are you a soldier?"
I
He
know.
said, "Are you an assassin?" No, I'm a soldier. You're neither. So the soldiers should have been like, what's a war movie?
Or a mafia movie. I mean, they use that verbiage.
Yes.
They say, soldier. So I was like, maybe that was something from Godfather that I didn't remember, or Godfather 2 that which has been even longer since I've seen Godfather 2. So it's been a minute on both those. But I remember, I leave the gun, take the cannoli. I remember that one.
Mm-hmm.
That's a classic. That could, yeah. All right. Well, Apocalypse Now. It's on my list. It's on my bucket list.
And Three Dog Night.
Three Dog Night, Apocalypse Now, and a really bad B horror movie on Netflix that I regret watching later. That's my list. That's my short list.
And of course, the one that won all the Academy Awards that same year, which was Don't Touch Daddy's Catnip.
Yeah. Oh, classic film, start to finish. It's like it's the falling down of its day. It's a classic.
Oh shit, this is fantastic. Now, okay.
And I need to see Citizen Kane. That's the other big one. I know Citizen Kane's like one of the best movies ever made. I just know that because you said it, and I just repeat it like I know something about that. But
oh god, this category is fantastic because no one's ever going to get a point ever. Like,
well, I have an easy one for you. I have a pretty easy one.
Ron Placone?
Yours is easy. So
what should I know? You should know this.
This line is just such a brilliant line in rock and roll music. And I have heard this song so many times, I couldn't even try to tell you, but I still need to actually read the lyric sheet for this because it's just so just poetic. But here it goes. In every gimmick, hungry yob, digging gold from rock and roll, grabs the mic to tell us he'll die before he's sold. But I believe in this, and it's been tested by research that he who fucks nuns will later join the church. Who is that, Graham?
Wow.
It's powerful, isn't it? That's a beautiful line.
Is that Three Dog Night?
Yeah, dude, it's a deep cut too. Good job. That's like that's like, why did Daddy sell my catnip? That's the jam.
Which they always do as an encore now, which is amazing.
Yeah.
I love them live. They're just so great.
Oh yeah, they do it. They jam it out too. It's like a 20-minute thing. Like there's the intro. It's like, are they doing it? And it was like, yeah, they're doing it.
I mean, the only thing I could think of, those lines that are that vicious, is this Sex Pistols?
No, but you are close. That's very close. And this is a band I can give that's a hint. And Sex Pistols is close and a good guess.
The Clash.
It is the Clash.
I was gonna say either the Clash or Sex Pistols.
There you go. Those are the two you need. No, it's the Clash. I'm more of a Clash guy than a Pistols guy. I'm not a huge Sex Pistols fan, but this is the Clash. The song is Death or Glory, and it's it's off the London Calling album, which is an album that you really need to just absorb. It is such an era-defining album from start to finish. There is not one wasted moment on that entire album, from the first chords of London Calling to the brand new Cadillac, to Rudy Can't Fail, to All Lost in the Supermarket, to Death or Glory, which is my favorite Clash song and one of my favorite songs in the world. And yeah, that line in particular, it's I think it's just so poignant right now because it's like, I think the big theme of it is just like, no one's really a savior. And that was, I think that was kind of Joe Strummer's biggest message to all of us. You know, to quote another great band, The Hold Steady, like, we are our only saviors. We're going to build something this summer. And I think now more than ever before, Henry Rollins has said this recently, so I got to credit him for saying it first, but he said now more than ever before, it's the time to do what Joe Strummer trained you for. So, and it's the only saint that I acknowledge, man. Saint Joe Strummer.
And thank you for you gave me an easy one, because you know that I like The Clash, and you know that I actually know that album, London Calling, not as deeply as you do, obviously, but yeah, that's a great album.
It's a fantastic album, man. And track 12 is one that is often overlooked, but you know, a lot of Clash enthusiasts will tell you, I mean, Death or Glory, it's like, that's an anthem, dude. That's an anthem.
It is a fantastic anthem. Oh, wow. I guess. All right. I got to that sooner than you did, I guess.
Yeah.
Here's how we could do this category. Now, as we're sort of test running it for an actual game show, we could do something like multiple choice, or it starts out like it's worth 4 points or 5 points or something like that. And then each time you ask for a hint, you lose a point.
There you go. I like that.
Right?
That. Yeah. I mean, as long as we make it, it's like, this is something that you should, like, it's not like you're going to be asking me about, you know, movies that were festival only releases in like, you know, some random year. And it's not like I'm going to be bringing up like bands that I know you for sure have never heard of.
Right.
Which there are a lot of them, but you know, I'm not, you know, these are going to be ones that it's like, yeah, you should probably know this one, or you definitely do.
Yeah, it's got to be like I pick Apocalypse Now because it was an Academy Award winner. It's in the AFI Top 100. It's one of the more definitive anti-Vietnam War movies of that era. And it was with Marlon Brando, who was maybe one of the greatest actors of that generation. And it's Francis Ford Coppola, who literally had just come off winning the Oscar for Godfather and Godfather 2, I believe, when he did Apocalypse Now. So he was already like one of the top directors in Hollywood. Martin Sheen, it's like the stories about it of the movie were epic. It took 2.5 years to finish. He went way over budget. And there's a documentary made about it called Hearts of Darkness, A Filmmaker's Apocalypse, which just shows you how insane the movie was. So it's a very big, I'm not going to pick some obscure movie that no one would ever know. But yeah, Apocalypse Now was, I mean, it was the movie that defined a generation in terms of anti-war. Dennis Hopper's in it. And it's nuts. I mean, a young Lawrence Fishburne's in it. It's got some of the most iconic music and scenes, and it's just it's insane.
It's like the Three Dog Night of London Callings. I mean, really, when you break it down, if you had to just sum it up, it's
Yeah, of course. Boy, that just summed it up. I was just rambling on with all these facts and statistics, but it is the Three Dog Night of London Calling.
Not a TV show either. Movie.
I love when you just go into panic mode. You just start saying anything. The Sopranos, Friends, Seinfeld.
That wasn't a real guest.
Jeopardy. Just
Jeopardy.
Oh,
Alex Trebek. Wait. Second guess. The SNL skit about Alex Trebek. That's my final answer. It's got to be that. Daryl Hammond.
Daryl Hammond. Oh God. Sean Connery in that.
And then it was Ferrell played Trebek, right? Will Ferrell was Trebek in that.
Yeah,
skit.
Will Ferrell played Trebek.
Yeah, and Hammond was Sean Connery, the reoccurring Sean Connery.
Yeah,
it was just so freaking funny.
It was
Sean Connery.
He played Sean Connery, and then Norm Macdonald would usually play, I think, Burt Reynolds.
Oh yeah.
And one time, one of the guest stars was David Duchovny, and he played Jeff Goldblum. It was brilliant.
Oh yeah, that was hilarious. That, and I forget who played either one of these, but at one point they had someone playing Bjork. And it was hilarious because the person playing Bjork like had the buzzer and was like, "This buzzer is music," and was just going nuts with the buzzer. And then somebody was Tom Cruise. And, like, Tom Cruise was just, he was just like amazed and everything. Like, he had the buzzer in his hand. He's like, it's, I'm not doing it justice but yeah, that was some funny stuff, dude. That was some funny stuff.
That was great.
Yeah.
Daryl, Sean Connery was always like, "This buzzer, he's like, I'm Sean Connery," and he does want to fight everybody. And
yeah,
fantastic. All right, Ron, how about another round of?
Let's do one more round. Yeah, let's do another round.
All right, Ron. A quote from another iconic movie, Ron Placone. I think we're going to need a bigger boat.
Oh, geez, I do know this. Oh man. Yeah, this is an easy one, and it's like, as soon as you say it, I'm gonna be like, yes. But
the chat is exploding. Do not look at the chat.
Yeah, I know. I think we're give me a hint.
I can give you, I'll give you either the actor that said it or the director of the movie.
Give me director.
Steven Spielberg.
Oh, God, of course it is. God damn it. That guy's everywhere. Wait, is that Indiana? Is that an Indiana Jones?
It's not an Indiana. He did direct the Indiana Jones movies, but it's not from that.
But it was that era, right? It was around that era.
Yes.
Jaws.
That's correct.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
I knew it was one of those, like, there's a lot of adventure, but the good guys are okay. All right. Although a lot of people didn't make it in that. Spoiler if you haven't seen it.
Well, the boat line kind of gives it away that it's Jaws.
All right. I mean, I was happy I got it, but that's okay. You can mention that.
There's literally like 15 people typed Jaws the minute I read it in the chat. They just were like, Jaws, Ron, Jaws. Everyone's like,
Moby Dick. That's my final answer. We should talk about, like, I mean, Moby Dick, obviously, but the movie I didn't think was all that great. Now we're going back. I mean, I was a kid when I watched it, but I didn't think the Moby Dick movie was. I mean, maybe I was too young to appreciate it. Maybe it was a great movie, and I was just too young. I don't know. But
which Moby Dick? What movie did you watch? The one that came out in like the 50s or 60s or whatever?
I don't know, man. I mean, I was a kid because I read it as a kid, and I really liked the book, and then I watched whatever movie was available. But I mean, I was in, like, I guess 5th grade or something. And I remember just not thinking much of the movie in comparison. Could just be growing up where you realize usually the book is a better experience than the movie. That's just commonly what happens. But I don't know. I mean, how many Moby Dick movies did they do? I mean,
that's a good question. I'm not sure. I think they did. I think there was one in like the 50s, and then I'm sure they've remade it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, books that they've done several times.
I vaguely remember it being in color, so yeah, I don't know how far back it went, but I just remember it wasn't. Yeah, it didn't really. I mean, it didn't hit me the way Jaws did the first time I saw Jaws, and I saw Jaws as a kid and really liked it.
Yeah,
I didn't think the movie held a candle to Jaws, but maybe it's because I read the book. I mean, you know, I don't know.
Well, Jaws came out in the 70s. It was Spielberg's breakout movie. It was the movie that really, he had directed some TV and stuff like that. And it was the movie that really and it has all these, they had this mechanical shark. It kept breaking down. Spielberg was this young director. People were like on the set, he doesn't know what he's doing. There's these long scenes of dialogue in the movie that end up being amazing between like Robert Shaw, Roy Schneider is the guy who said the line, and Richard Dreyfuss. They're all stuck on the boat because the shark was broken. So they were losing they had to cut all these scenes of fighting with the shark. And then there's a lot, and it ended up being a happy accident because that iconic, just seeing the fin and then bump, 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 bump. Spielberg started using more of that to build the tension because he had all these scenes of this big shark was going to jump out of the water and you'd see and it was always breaking down. So he had to use that to create the tension. And then there's this scene where the three of them are like sitting on the boat waiting, and Robert Shaw is fantastic in it. And there's a scene between him and Richard Dreyfuss where he's like, "Let me see your hands." And Richard Dreyfuss is this like nerdy young college scientist, studying sharks. And he's like, "Let me see your hands." He's like, "All right." And he looks at him and goes, "You got shitty hands. You've been counting money your whole life." Like, it's just fantastic. But there's all these, so it created all this necessity for these other scenes and this tension that wasn't supposed to be there. And then it was a blockbuster. It was like a mega hit that nobody thought was going to be a hit. They thought it was going to be a bomb. They thought it was going to be some 70s, like drive-in movie, grindhouse, like schlocky, cheesy. Yeah. And it blew.
Yeah.
And so because of that, then he got, I think my order's correctly. Then after Jaws, he got E.T., then maybe it was Raiders of the Lost Ark, and then E.T. I forget. But yeah, all those guys and then like he did that, and then George Lucas did Star Wars in 77, which was just a huge hit. And Francis Ford Coppola had already won all these Oscars because the first Godfather, I think, came out in 72, and then Godfather 2 came out, I think, in like 74. And then he did Apocalypse Now, which didn't come out.
Well, and then that actor was also in Apocalypse Now, the Marlon Brando.
Yes, Ron, correct. And he was the drummer in Three Dog Night.
That's right. So multi-talented guy.
He did a lot.
I'm a drummer. I'm keeping time.
Lay off Daddy's catnip.
Your Marlon Brando sounds a little Russian. I'll be quite honest with you, Ron.
Well, I'm just, staying true to our employers.
Somebody also said, didn't he also do Poltergeist? You're right. Somewhere in there, Spielberg did. He had this crazy run. He did Jaws, E.T., Poltergeist, the Raiders of the Lost Ark movies. I mean, he was just they were all mega hits, like just insane. I
remember Jaws was a movie. Like I'd always watch Jaws on like family vacations, which is kind of interesting when you think about it, because like my family vacations would always be to the beach somewhere. So it's like we'd go to the beach and be like, "All right, watch this thing about a killer shark. We're going to go in the ocean tomorrow." Lucy gets it.
Yeah. There's like a scene in there where like kids get mauled by this shark, and it's like, all right, go play in the water.
It's like, we get to swim tomorrow. You excited? You stoked? It never held me back. Like I never was like, "Oh, I don't want to go in now." Like, I was always, I loved the ocean as a kid, and I knew I didn't live near it. So whenever that vacation happened,
terrified me. I was afraid to go into the deep end of the pool. Like that movie was like horrifically terrifying for me. But these are all fantastic movies for anyone out there who hasn't seen them. Ron, let's ask me one more.
All right. So I got one more for you. This one is, now this is a band you definitely know, but this is a deeper cut. But this is one of those tunes. It's one of those songs that will stay with you your entire life. What it means to you will evolve with time, but it's still one of those songs that is always a go-to, that is always something to lean on, and is always one of those things where life is a journey and you're always learning. And it is about, well, here we go. I'm just going to read some of the lines for you. "The dawn was coming. I heard him ringing on my bell. He said, my name's the teacher. That's what I call myself. And I have a lesson that I must impart to you. It's an old expression. but I must insist it's true. So jump up and look around and find yourself some fun. No sense in sitting there hating everyone. No man's an island and the castle isn't home. The nest is for nothing when the bird has flown. What song is that, Graham? Who is that?
Is this a band or just like a singer-songwriter, like a one guy?
It's a band. And keep going if you want.
The Ramones.
No, it's not. Yeah. It's a good guess. I mean, it's a fair guess, but no. I mean, I'll tell you, it's not a punk band. It's not a punk band. It is the song you likely do not know, but the band you definitely know. And I'll tell you, so second verse, I took a journey, I threw my world into the sea. Now, a lot of people, when they hear that song, myself included, you think they're saying threw my work into the sea. That's usually up to my work, but no, it's threw my world into the sea. With me went the teacher who found fun instead of me. Hey, ma'am, what's the plan? What was that you said? Suntan, drink in hand, lying there in bed. I try to socialize, but I can't seem to find what I was looking for. I got something on my mind. Because you're seeking, Graham. You're seeking the truth.
What? The Sopranos.
Yes. AJ sings it. It's AJ's tune. It's when he's failing out of school, that's what he sings.
It's AJ's too.
That's AJ's jam, man. AJ jams on that one. Meadow does backup. It's classic. Actually, you know what, Graham? Here's the best part. This band is featured several times in The Sopranos. Not like acting in it, but this band is referenced in The Sopranos. In fact, Tony Soprano references these guys directly in one of the episodes. Then that's true. That's 100% true.
Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band?
No, although they do that, and Little Steven, of course, is in the show, but no, it is not Bruce Springsteen. It is, but you're close because it is a classic rock band, and it is, it is one of the bands. I mean, they actually reference a lot of classic rock music in The Sopranos, so I know that doesn't like narrow it down a whole lot, but yeah, this band, they are a classic rock band, so you're definitely getting warmer. You're in the right era, although this actually goes a little tiny bit further back than Springsteen.
It's not the Rolling Stones, is it?
It is not the Rolling Stones. Not quite that main. Well, they're mainstream, but they're not quite that at that level. They're not quite Rolling Stones, but they're
not a mega band.
They're not like a mega band. No, I mean they're definitely a name but they're not Rolling Stones or Beatles or anything like that. It is a deeper cut, but the band you definitely know. I'll give you if you want a hint. I'll give you.
Yeah. Give me a hint.
All right, so I'll tell you they're not American. They're not an American band. So they're
Well, so if you say they're not mega band, then I would then it, to me, rules out the Who.
That's not the Who. I mean, good. Yeah, I mean the Who's not an American band. I mean,
right?
Getting warmer. But you're in the right vein. But so you're definitely in the you're in the right you're in the right genre. You're in the right era. You're knocking on the door.
The Bee Gees. They're not American.
I was coming on and ringing on my bell.
Yeah, say those with lyrics.
He said, "My name's a teacher. That's what I call myself. Ooh, ooh, I have a lesson. Must have to you." Yeah, no, not the Bee Gees. It'd be an entirely different song if it was a Bee Gees tune.
Oh, it's a dance sound. I don't know. I hear dance song when I hear those lyrics. Don't you? You don't hear dance lyrics? Oh,
I wonder if anyone. I've got to look and see if anyone. Oh man, no one in the chat is on with mine. All right, well, that bums me out. Yeah, no one in the chat knows either.
fantastic.
I mean, everyone's gonna be like, "Oh," when I say it, but oh wait, no, someone got it. Someone got it.
Okay.
Yeah, someone got it. Some really good guesses. Actually, a couple people got it. All right, I don't feel as bad now. Yeah, a couple people got it. And a couple of people had some really good guesses of stuff I want to like go listen to after we're done here. but yeah, a couple of people got it.
I mean, after listening to you saying, I want to listen to the Bee Gees. Oh God.
We've talked about them before. Well, I mean, it's one of the bands we've talked about. Actually, I'll give you here. This you'll definitely get it if I say that. It's one of those bands that I thought you might not know, but you did.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like when you were pleasantly surprised that I really liked London Calling and The Clash.
No, I knew The Clash.
We've talked about them.
Yeah.
You were surprised when I knew them, so they're not as mainstreamy, but
they're not. Yeah, they're not the Stones or they're not the Who, but they're definitely in that caliber. I mean, they're definitely classic rock radio. You're gonna hear them. They're pretty well known. And this is a deeper cut, but it's a beautiful cut.
So it's not the Yardbirds, is it?
You're getting closer, but no, not the Yardbirds.
It's amazing that you remember us talking about this and I don't. Like that's like your vault of memory for music even extends to just a me liking an obscure band that you didn't think I would, and I still like. I don't remember. I remember. Oh,
well, I picked these guys because it's like they are a big name, but a lot of people don't realize like how much there is to them. So I thought they'd be like a really fun choice for this.
The Yardbird. God damn it! I don't know. You said close when I said Yardbirds.
Yes, yeah, you're very close. Like you're classic rock. All right, I'll give you want another hint?
Yeah.
Flute.
Huh?
They use a flute.
Oh, God. And the right thing with black curtains, right? Isn't that one of their songs?
No.
No,
but you know this band. You've said it to me before.
Sleep gently, sweet orb. Cause I love you. Oh, how I love you. Right? Isn't that one of their songs? No, they play a flute. Right? They come up with the flute. Who's that fucking band that does the flute? Oh, that's right. I know this now. Oh,
I mean, there's a couple, but they're like the main.
They're the main
like,
flute band
and rock and roll. Yeah.
Oh, fuck. It's that. It's on the tip of my tongue. This is driving me nuts now.
It's a dude's name, but it's actually a band.
Yeah, it's like not Leonard Skinner. It's like that. It's
yes. I think you know it. You're just blanking on the name at this point.
I'm just blanking on the name. I know them. I can picture them. I can picture their long, crazy outfits and the
dude. Yeah, Jethro Tull.
Jethro Tull. Ah,
yes. Yes. Yeah. And I picked that. So the song I picked is a song called Teacher, which is some of their pre-Aqualung work. A lot of people don't realize that they actually had, I believe, 4 albums before Aqualung. And they're really great. I mean, Teacher is off the Benefit album, which is one of my favorite albums. And then they had This Was, which was basically a blues album that came out in 68. And then their 69 album was actually called Stand Up. It wasn't a stand-up album, but it was called Stand Up. And yeah, Benefit, really freaking cool album. And Teacher, one of my favorite tunes off that album, one of my favorite songs, period. And I think it's just like one of those life songs that I've loved that song since I was literally 9 years old. And it still has the same, just sort of youthful explore, you're exploring the world and the world is so big and you're such a small part of it. And that's kind of beautiful. Yeah. So that's Jethro Tull.
Dude, I knew it. God, it was on the tip of my tongue. I was like in my mind. I knew it. I kept thinking Leonard Skinner, which is so close to like Jethro Tull. I knew it was there. Oh,
so Leonard Skinner. It's funny. So Leonard Skinner was the name of their gym teacher, I think, and that's why they're called Leonard Skinner. It was like a gym teacher that they had, and Jethro Tull. Like, I still don't know why exactly that's their name, but Jethro Tull was this guy who invented the seed drill. Like there was a guy in history named Jethro Tull who invented the seed drill. And then for some reason, their band is Jethro Tull. And yeah, but I don't know exactly. I mean, I know that when they first started, according to them, they were not very good for a while. And according to them, they were so bad that they had to change their name to get rebooked. And one time when they finally had a decent gig, they had changed their name to Jethro Tull, and it stuck. And then the other big thing is Ian Anderson, the guy who sings and plays the flute and is the only original member at this point too. He didn't really have an instrument to play that was working for the band, and he was doing saxophone, and it just wasn't working. So he went to a pawn shop, pawned in a saxophone. The only thing he could get for it was a flute. And he didn't know what the hell he was doing, but he just figured it out. So he's never had a flute lesson. He's never it's all just self-taught. And he just...
What?
Yeah. I mean, and it just clicked. Like, he's this incredible flute player. And you can actually find videos on YouTube that I have shamelessly watched more than one time of like classically trained flautists watching Jethro Tull videos, like not knowing anything about the band, but just knowing this dude's really good at flute. And they'll watch Jethro Tull videos and they'll react in real time. And they'll just be like, how did he freaking do? I don't know how he did that. I don't know how he freaking did that. And like, they're just watching this stuff and they're like, this is incredible. And yeah, it's really interesting. I mean, they're a cool band. I mean, I've seen them, I've seen them about 5 times, and it's they're kind of just almost a cover band at this point because it's just Ian Anderson, and their guitar player now is my age, which is kind of ridiculous. Where it's like, dude, you weren't even born when most of these albums were made, and you're the guitar player now. I'm sure the guy's fantastic, but it's like, but.
Well,
anyway.
I hear that story and I go, you mean I could have just been in a rock band playing the flute this whole time if I just taught myself, picked up a flute and just blew into it until I made crazy sounds?
Right? I mean, the way he tells the story, he literally makes it sound like that. He's just like, yeah, for a while, I couldn't really make anything happen with it. But then eventually I was making sounds and they were in key with the rest of the band and the rest. I mean, my buddy used to say, it's like, how did he sell that? Like, how was he just like, hey, I got an idea for our band. I'm going to play flute and sing. All right. Do you even play flute? No, not really. But I'm going to do that. I'm going to sing and I'll write the lyrics. And then, you guys kind of fill in the rest. Well, shit. I don't see how this won't be super successful. So we're in. Like, it's interesting, man. I mean,
it's so crazy. Like, and why do you have the flute? It's all they had at the pawn shop. Okay. Yeah. Like, everyone just was on board with it. All right. Yeah, go for it, man. Like,
well, yeah. I mean, can you imagine like being like, you're a struggling local band, things aren't going well, you have to change your name every time you get a gig, and like your singer walks in and you go, hey, good news, guys. That saxophone that wasn't connecting, it's gone. It's gone. And it's like, great. We're thrilled to hear that. Wait. The good news isn't up yet, guys. The good news isn't up yet. Then he holds up a flute and he's like, huh? Check it out. Check it out. And then it's like, you know what? We all voted. You're out of the band. That's actually what's going. We all decided you're not meant to do this.
How did that first rehearsal go where he shows up and goes, click, click, opens up, check it out, boys. The ticket, our problems are solved. And they're like, what are you doing? Where's the saxophone? What are you doing? Like, we got to pay rent. You should have cashed in the sax. And like, no, I'm going to teach myself. Oh, way to go.
We're going to turn this up to 11 as soon as I empty out my spit valve. Let's get ready to rock and roll, folks. Let's get ready for it.
You know, everyone else in the band is like, we're going to have to change our name again.
What are we going to be called next? Like Flutie Magoo in the pawn shops? What are we going to do? I don't know what. I don't know what we're going to do next. This is getting embarrassing. But it works.
I saw Flutie Magoo in the pawn shops open up for Don't Take Daddy's Catnip. And it was actually a great show. I mean, I didn't think they'd met. It was a really good show.
You know, what's crazy but it was an art conceptual show too, because they screened Three Dog Night on a big screen while the show was going on, like Flaming Lips style. It's nuts.
Well, just the whole movie. Brando lyrics.
That's Marlon Brando. Well, he was playing drums, and he's like, was this from in between songs? He's like, is this from Godfather or the other thing? And then he'd do a thing. He'd say a line.
And a deep cut, and he'd do a quote from The Freshman, and they'd go, "Oh my God, who saw that coming?"
Right. Which is also a song by the Verve Pipe.
Is it?
Oh, The Freshman,
only freshman.
Yeah. I can't be held responsible.
She was only freshman.
She fell in love in the first place. For the life of me.
She was only freshman.
It's a great song.
Someone's asking where the vegan guns are. They're right here, kids. Fear not. Well, this feels like a fantastic show, Ron.
This is a good, hey, we're going to do one of these every game show.
I love it because it's like, and then each one of us gets to nerd out on what the movie or song or the history of, like, that's the thing that's so great. We each get to nerd out on what it was and who was in it and what happened and how it was made.
I was listening to both songs before we went live, like right before we logged in. I was like listening to both. I'm like, yeah, dude.
I was watching a YouTube clip about this channel breaks down scenes from Apocalypse Now, and one of them is the scene where Harrison Ford, they're giving Martin Sheen the orders to go kill Colonel Kurtz, and the history behind it. Harrison Ford flew in there to do this part. He was like shooting he was shooting one of the Star Wars movies. And so he just and they were shooting this in the Philippines or something. So he just arrived. He was nervous because he didn't know his lines. So Coppola used it. So in the scene, he's really nervous telling Martin Sheen about this. And you see they changed the name. Marlon Brando's character's name, Colonel Kurtz, was originally called something else, like Colonel Waltenmeyer or something like that. And so you see a photo in one of the cuts too. They've got this like dossier of Marlon Brando's character, and the photos fall on the ground. And if you look really closely, you'll see on the photo of Marlon Brando his old character's name, because they had shot that photo of him in his military uniform before they had changed his character's name to Kurtz. There's all these great things in there, you know, because they were all, him and George Lucas and everybody were all buddies. So like Lucas was in the name, and there's just a great, that scene is just broken down. It's like, I could talk about Apocalypse Now forever. It's just fantastic.
Well, I gotta watch it, man. Is there any truth to Harrison Ford was George Lucas's pot hookup? Is there any truth to that? Do you know?
I don't know if that was the case. I mean, the story goes, he used Harrison Ford in American Graffiti, and heard he was okay, but like he was like Harrison Ford had kind of like quit acting. He was fed up with Hollywood, and he was like a construction. He was doing carpentry. This is one of the like, and I don't know how many of these are just like myths or ghost stories or whatever.
Well, I think he was definitely a carpenter. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's legit.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, he was definitely doing that.
And they were like auditioning for Star Wars, and Harrison Ford was like doing work there, and he was just like, I'll do this, and just did it and was all cocky and like, you guys are idiots. And they were like, oh, you're Han Solo. That's one of the stories, but I don't know. There's probably a better version. Maybe there's Harrison Ford telling the actual story. Him being as popular, I don't know. I mean, they all kind of knew each other. That era, all these filmmakers, they all hung out together. They all went to film school. They all knew each other. So they all were kind of using the same, like if you watch, and somebody brought it up in the chat, if you watch The Conversation, which is a movie Francis Ford Coppola made between Godfather 1 and 2, I think. Definitely between the Godfather movies and Apocalypse Now. It's very slow. It wasn't a big blockbuster. It's a very subtle movie. Gene Hackman's in it. But you see some of the same actors, like some of the bit parts, like one of the guys on the boat in Apocalypse Now is one of the characters in The Conversation. And you see a lot of stuff like that. It's Apocalypse Now too. And if you watch Apocalypse Now Redo, the director's cut, you see all the stuff that was cut out of there. It's just amazing, man. It's just, I could quote that movie all day, all night.
Watch it. And you should revisit some London Calling. And the Benefit album. Pre-Aqualung. Not that Aqualung isn't great. And not that, I mean, I think pretty much like 70, and in my opinion, 70 to 77 is like tall, like at their peak. Like really? Basically, yeah. I mean, because, a lot of people... 73, 74 was like, but then 75, they came out with Minstrel in the Gallery, which I think is their most underrated album. That's a really, really good album that often goes underrepresented. And then after that, they did Too Old to Rock and Roll, Too Young to Die, and then they did Bows from the Wood. And then after that, I'm not as big on a lot of their studio stuff, but they had quite a run from Benefit to Songs from the Wood.
All right. I'll check that out.
So new segment, folks.
Apocalypse Now Redo, and Hearts of Darkness, a Filmmaker's Apocalypse. Those are the 3 Apocalypse Now movies you need to watch.
3 of all right.
There's the original, the director's cut, and then the documentary about the making of them.
All right, I'm starting with the original. Let me absorb the original first, and then I'll get the accessories, if you will. Yes,
watch the original, and then watch the documentary, and then watch Redo.
All right. Because there's probably some information in that documentary that's important when you hit the Redo.
Yes,
there's something that was left out for whatever reason, or there's something that was like maybe not done right, or maybe not done. Like, this is a prime example of that. The Clockwork Orange.
Mm-hmm.
The way they did that movie, which I liked that movie. It's a good movie. At least I think so. But that was not the story that Burgess wanted to tell. And that's not the way the book ended. And they changed the end. I think it was something like they changed the ending of the book in the US. Like the way the book, and I've read like the original, so like I've read the actual ending, like how he really wanted it to end. And the way they make that movie, that's not the story he was really trying to tell. And I think it's like he might hate the movie. I'm not sure, but he's always been very vocal. He's like, that's not my story. Like, that's not how it ended.
Yeah, that's I've definitely heard that, because Stanley Kubrick, who directed Clockwork Orange, he's always sort of done way more improvisational stuff on the set of like, and he adapts these books and then puts his own style and lets the actors help do that. Yeah, he does Yeah, it's Stanley Kubrick is known for that in all of his movies. So that doesn't surprise me.
Well, it really did change it. I mean, if you read the book and then you watch that movie, like, yeah, it was, I mean, as far as like what happens, it's not crazy different, but when you really think of from a theme standpoint, it was a significant alteration that really just changes what that story is all about. And when you talk to people who have maybe just seen the movie and not read the book, you realize how big, how kind of big the gap is, where it's like, oh yeah, that's not really what Clockwork Orange was all about. Like, that's not really what they were trying to do.
Right.
But anyway.
Well, dude, I guess I'll just I'm gonna read some of these tips and probably get on out of here before you can duck out. Tell everybody how they can follow your stuff.
You can follow me at Ron Placone on Twitter and all social media, and of course youtube.com/Ron Placone. And yeah, I'll be streaming over on my channel with Get Your News On with Ron. I also stream on the Rockfin, so if you're on Rockfin, please follow me there. It's just Ron Placone. I'm Ron Placone on everything. I make it easy. And our game show will be back next week, where this is a new segment that we'll be doing, where we'll each be turning the other person on to a movie they need to see and a band they need to listen to or revisit. And yeah. See you then, Graham.
You got it, Ron. And remember, you should know this.
You should know this. All right, buddy.
All right, buddy. We'll see you next week.
Cheers.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Please hit the like button, the subscribe button. Go to patreon.com/Graham Elwood and rockfin.com/Graham Elwood, where you can support the show. Also, I have a Bitcoin wallet, a Bitcoin Cash wallet, and an Ethereum wallet in the show notes. We're taking cryptocurrency. I have a Coinbase affiliation link. We're going to be getting on some other exchanges. So that's how you support the show. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. YouTube is unsubscribing us at an alarming rate. I have a PayPal button at GrahamElwood.com. I even have a Venmo at Graham-Elwood. There's a lot of ways to support our show. We are getting crushed by YouTube. We've dipped under 73,000 subscribers because of YouTube. Thanks for supporting what we do.